Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Charles Sabansi. I want to welcome you guys to another episode of the Dreamers Pro Show, where we cover everything from sports, hot topics, classic debates, entertainment, and when we give you guys a fresh perspective on things and how we see them. And today we have a very interesting show for you guys. But before we get into it, please make sure you like the video and subscribe to the channel. Also, if you want to follow me on Instagram, my name is Charles Tabansi. My handle is CTABANZ. If you want to follow the channel on Instagram, same name as the channel. And also, if you want today's full show before it comes out, it is streaming for free on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. We have that pinned in the comment section below. Anyway, let me get into this topic. So yesterday we produced a bunch of shows around this Draymond Green incident that took place between himself and I forgot the team that they were playing. I forgot. Was it the Sacramento King? I don't remember the team that they were playing. But anyway, there was an incident that, no, it was at the Minnesota Timberwolves. So there was this incident where Klay Thompson got into a tussle with one of the Wolves. And then Rudy Gobert, based on what I saw, tried to be a peacemaker. And he was in a melee. Like it was a bunch of players, people shoving each other. And I think he tried to remove Klay Thompson. And then Draymond Green comes out of nowhere, like literally out of nowhere. He runs down the court. And he jumps on this dude's back and starts choking him. And as he's choking him, he's dragging him across the court. And I'm like, what type of bozo behavior is this? What are we doing? Like, what exactly are we doing? So he did that. And so, of course, some people defended it because they always love to see some BS and some nonsense. So they love, like, yeah. I mean, come on, let's see it. So they did that. And then what happened? The NBA then made its decision to suspend Draymond Green for 5 games, I believe, without pay. And I think he's going to lose upwards of $700,000 for those games missed. Right now, initially when that happened, head coach Steve Kerr seemed to be coming to the defense of Draymond Green, which to me was baffling because I'm like, how can you defend this? Like, what are you defending right now? This is how you support your teammate? By choking out another, like, what are you talking about? What are you talking about? So he first started defending. And then what happened? This morning I woke up and I came across a clip from, I believe, House of Highlights, where they asked Steve Kerr to kind of weigh in on the decision that the NBA made in terms of suspending Draymond Green for 5 games. And to my surprise, he totally changed his tune and he pretty much ripped Draymond Green for going out there and performing such a dangerous, reckless act. So for those of you who didn't hear what Steve Kerr had to say, want to play exactly what Steve Kerr had to say, and then we're going to come back and continue on the show. Take a listen to what head coach Steve Kerr had to say.
We haven't spoken with you since Draymond was officially suspended, just your reaction on that. And when we last talked to you, you said it looked like Rudy had, dropped Klay. Draymond was defending Klay, but seeing the tape back, seeing everything, do you think that Draymond took it a little bit too far?
Yes, he definitely took it too far. I didn't have a problem with him getting Rudy off of Klay because, the rule of thumb is you don't put your hands on another player on the other team. You get your own guy. And so I thought Rudy was wrong for putting his arms on Klay, regardless of his intentions. So I had no problem with Draymond getting him off of him, but he's got to let go. And he hung on for 6-7 seconds. And it was a terrible visual for the league, for Draymond, for everybody. So Draymond was wrong. He knows that. It's a bad look. The 5 games is deserved, and we move forward.
A quick follow-up to that, too, because Draymond's fire and passion, you've talked about it. We all know how important that is to this team and what you guys have accomplished. But the league has also said, in this statement and then also back in that Kings series when he was suspended, like his past actions continue to play a role in these decisions. So how does he, the organization, navigate those types of things and making sure this doesn't continue to happen?
That's a great question, and it's something we are working hard on behind the scenes. Draymond has to find a way to not cross the line. And I'm not talking about, getting an ejection and getting a technical. I'm talking about, a physical act of violence. I mean, that's inexcusable, and so we have to do everything we can to give him the help and the assistance that he needs to be able to draw that distinction between being an incredible competitor, which he's always been. That's why he's in the position he is. That's why he's the player he is. But he can't cross that line, and he crossed it the other night for sure.
Hey, Coach, on Draymond, sometimes you see coaches and they say things in interviews that may be received by the media, by people that may be inappropriately said, right? But then you turn around and that pushes their guys to come out in a game, and it really motivates them to play really hard and come out on top. When you think about Draymond and how he's a strategic player, just initially, and the player that he is, what is that balance of not going too far when you think about the fact that you can't neglect the fact that Podziemski had a big game, and a lot of those plays probably were pushed by the crowd pushing them. So what is that mark that's you don't go over that line, but you still motivate your team to play hard when you make strategic plays and do things that may not be received well from everyone outside of the hardwood?
You're talking about what my comments would be in that regard, or what do you mean?
So when it comes to Draymond and how he helps to motivate the guys,
the crowd, motivate the team,
and the team to play hard. Sometimes it comes behind plays that can be received as inappropriate. What is the line where Draymond can remain Draymond but not go so far to the point where it hurts the team?
The line was perfectly in view the other night. He crossed the line as soon as he grabbed Rudy by the neck. That crossed the line. So, the line is when you're not going to be there for the next 5 games for your teammates at a time when they need you. Understanding the repercussions of the actions, understanding the impact on the team, understanding the visual. I know Draymond, and he's a wonderful human being. He's filled with passion and love and respect for his teammates. But that is a bad look, right? That's a bad look. He knows that, and he's embarrassed by that. And so that's the line. That's where the line is.
So you heard what Warriors head coach Steve Kerr had to say. Now, before I even get into that and react to it, I came across an article this morning from, I think, NBA Central's Twitter page that linked a fadeaway article. And I'm going to read it. It says, "Doctor explains why Draymond Green's chokehold on Rudy Gobert was violent and terrifying." Draymond Green's chokehold on Rudy Gobert has been dominating the headlines since Tuesday night, and now Dr. Brian Sutter, MD, has explained why Green's act was incredibly terrifying. "I will say one of the most concerning things, honestly, about this whole experience was how Draymond initially went in just with his forearm on the front, striking the front part of Gobert's throat," Sutter said. "When you look at our biodigital tool here, that can result in a lot of trauma to the larynx or to the trachea, even the hyoid bone." Sutter explained that there is little protection in that area and that athletes can be out for a significant period of time when struck there. So the first moment where Draymond just comes in and his forearm hits square in the front of Adam's apple, in that larynx, and it itself can result in some direct trauma, fracture to these structures in the front of the neck, Sutter stated. While all of this would have been bad enough, Sutter explained why this type of chokehold that Green used was so concerning. The next part of this then that's really terrifying and just awful to watch is how Draymond just basically tries to drag Gobert by the neck. So he's got his arms up and his neck is here. We'll talk about all these different chokehold positions, but he just proceeds to drag Gobert like a large human by his neck, something that in itself adds to the danger of what is being done here. He then finally said, "If you hold pressure long enough and hard enough, you're going to compromise the blood flow to the brain," Sutter said. "Whenever the brain has impaired blood flow, eventually the response sort of down the line effect is to lose consciousness. You lose consciousness and you pass out." So that's what the doctor had to say. Now let me get back to what Steve Kerr had to say. First of all, thank you, Steve Kerr, for keeping it 100. Do you know why Steve Kerr was looking ridiculous for defending Draymond Green the other day? Let me tell you why. Because if that act was performed to his player, there's no way in God's green earth that Steve Kerr would have defended that. he would have said that's bush league. That's a savage move, and it has no place in basketball. So for the simple fact that you're defending your player when he went out there and did some move that is not a basketball move, maybe he confused with the MMA or something else. It was laughable that Steve Kerr was defending that. It really, really was. I couldn't believe he was defending such a move. That's the first thing. Secondly, was that a smart move by Draymond Green? Let's use our brains for a second. Was that smart? Was it smart? Was it worth losing $700,000 and missing 5 games when your team is already going through a slide when they already lose? Was that really smart? Was that wise? No one will argue that that was the wise thing to do. Now, I understand some of us have challenges with our tempers. I do sometimes, right? Because people do things that frustrate you, especially in Nigeria. People do things that really, really frustrate you. And I lose my temper. But a lot of the times it's like when I'm driving. Like it's usually like under like these road rage incidents. The most I'll do is like flare up, get angry, maybe say some things. But for me to now take it to the physical level, that means I've lost total control. And the minute you take it to the physical level, anything can happen. That's why that should be a last resort. There were 101 ways to diffuse that melee, and choking out Rudy Gobert and grabbing him was not one of them. Number one. Number two, the act that Rudy Gobert performed on the court, was he trying to be a peacemaker or was he trying to escalate the incident? I think he was trying to separate the players. Draymond was trying to escalate that situation. That's what he was trying to do. And to me, there's nothing gully or tough about running up behind somebody when they cannot see you and then throwing them in a chokehold. That is such sucker bozo behavior. You can't walk out of that with your chest puffing up like, yeah, you didn't do a damn thing. Sucker punching people when they're not expecting it, going at people when they don't know you. That's nothing, because those people are not ready for you. In most cases, those people that want to do those type of stuff, when it's a face-to-face confrontation where there's no element of surprise, they usually get their asses whooped. That's why they resort to sucker punching people or trying to intimidate you before the moment starts. Yes, I've seen it. Most people that can't fight or they don't really want to fight, they'll try to intimidate you before that happens. So the minute they intimidate you, you get scared. All of a sudden, now they'll start hitting you because they know they're not going to hit you back. You're not going to hit them. But the minute you meet that aggression with that aggression from the start, it usually ever goes the way that they think it's going to go. And for me to run behind the player and then throw him into a chokehold, that's ridiculous. And when people were supporting, I'm like, yo, what is going on? What are we doing? What are we doing? You're choking the guy and dragging him across the court. Why are you doing this? And for what? I think it had nothing to do with defending his team, and I think it had everything to do with Draymond just losing control. He lost control. There's no way you can tell me that Draymond did that with everything there. Because if that's what you're going to do, you don't do that. You don't do that. Now, some people, I brought up the incident with Carmelo Anthony. Some people saying, oh, Carmelo Anthony's friends with Chris Paul and all of that stuff. All I know is that what if the person that came to separate when Chris Paul and Rajon Rondo had that incident, what if the person that came to separate that incident did not know that Carmelo Anthony and Chris Paul were homeboys? And somebody just runs up behind Carmelo Anthony and starts choking him. What do you think is going to happen when Carmelo Anthony gets let loose? Or what if his other teammates then throws a punch at him? Patrick Beverly was saying, yo, Cat, why you ain't doing nothing? Well, if Karl Anthony Towns did something and he put his arm around his neck, does that escalate or de-escalate the situation? So what do y'all want to see? What y'all want to see? If these dudes are so starving for action, again, go watch an action movie or go sign up for the Army. Go to the U.S. Army, go sign up, and you'll get all the action that you want. Literally. They will put you on a plane, they will send you out somewhere, and you will get all the action you're looking for. Most people are not going to do that. So to me, I was not feeling it, and I'm happy that Steve Kerr came out there and corrected. That was some BS. I'm not supporting it. I don't think it's cool. Draymond stayed doing sucker moves. Kicking people in their private parts is a sucker move. And you're constantly doing it. Look at what happened to Domantas Sabonis. When he fell down on the floor, the guy falls, Draymond loses his balance, and then he purposely steps on the guy's ribs and then acts like he doesn't know what's going on. He steps on the guy's ribs and then starts running, and then he's like, I don't know what's going on. Until somebody snuffs Draymond, then he will know. That's what will happen. Until somebody gives him rocks his jaw really, really hard, then he will know. Draymond be picking and choosing these people he does it to. I saw Marcus Morris Sr. when he was on the Clippers. Draymond was doing his antics. Marcus Morris Sr. said enough is enough. He flung him to the ground, stood over him. Draymond stood up and started talking. There was no, I'm busting through the crowd. There was none of that. It was just talking and clapping. Clap, clap, clap. Because he knew if he went at Marcus Morris Sr., he would have got rocked. He knew that. He knew that. Them boys from Philly ain't playing with you, so he just kept it moving. That's what happened. I don't like people that pick and choose. If you're going to keep it gully with everybody. Don't be picking and choosing. Jumping behind some dude and choking him, and you felt like you did. To me, that's just, I'm not, some people love Drake. I'm not with it. I'm sorry, I'm not with it. I'm not with the antics and all of that. That's just cornball behavior. To me, it is. It is. Like, I'm not with it. These are my thoughts. Whatever you guys think, please leave your thoughts in the comments. We catch you on the next show. Peace.